Liu Feng knew that he had to become stronger, to avoid that situation again. This time, he increased all his stats by 3 levels. He knew that he had a lot of points, and decided to exchange them for 2 vaccines for Li Xin and Kelly, since this way he would not worry about them when they left the shelter. After which, he decided to upgrade his abilities, increasing his strength to the 9th level and pumping up his gift as a scientist. After which, a lot of information began to appear in his head, which was related to the talents of a kung fu master and a scientist. Military cyber art became available to him, and with it such techniques as nuclear fist, palm, flamethrower, mantis knife, endless attack, hot knife, laser, mechanical full strike palm, radiation, lightning knife, art, knife, plasma burst, and jet cloud. Liu Feng really felt that these skills were very cool. But he realized that while martial arts were very cool, most of them would not be very practical in close combat. After 1 minute of thought, Liu Feng decided to modify the gloves in such a way that their range would increase, and 1 special combat element would be added. This time, it's brother and sister who will go on the attack. The goal is a prison and a survivors' camp in the northern part of the city. The prison was located almost in the very center of the city of N. The prison guards were running away from something in a hurry. One of the guards asked Boss Zixuan, "What are they doing? And why still chase after them?" She told him to keep moving. The prisoners had rebelled, and they had to get their weapons. They were chased by mutated police dogs, pushing the police zombies. Mutants! Without waiting for an invitation, the mutant police dogs decided to attack them in order to feast on their flesh. She ordered her subordinates to open fire on the dogs, but the dogs were very fast and immediately began to attack the officers who fired at them. Well, zombies' dogs were not their only danger, because behind on the wall there was a zombie, a mutant who pierced Li Fan's head with its tentacles. The mutant zombie on the ceiling released his tongue to eat Zixuan, but he failed as he was attacked by metal arrows which cut off his tongue and tore his head apart. It was Liu Feng who arrived with his younger sister in prison in order to get hold of weapons. Seeing Zixuan in danger, Liu Feng told his younger sister that each of them would have 1 dog, and he would take care of the rest. Seeing them, the zombie dogs immediately rushed towards them in order to attack first, but the younger sister Shun Tong, not the least bit afraid of them, also ran towards them, grabbing one dog by the mouth with her hands. After she grabbed his jaw, she hit him against the wall with all her might. After that, she again took him by the muzzle. Without even using all her strength, Lufa's younger sister easily tore the mutant police dog into 2 halves. Liu Feng, in order to destroy his dog, a mutant zombie, used an explosive crossbow arrow. Explosive throwing knives are not very practical, so he converted them into explosive crossbow arrows. Having destroyed the zombie dog, he already thought that everything was over, but a new zombie, a mutant, was about to pounce on him from above. Liu Feng was not at a loss and decided to use his military cyber arts and the detonating palm technique. Taking the zombie's head by the mechanical glove, he simply blew it up. Meanwhile, inside the prison, the prisoners rebelled and hung one of the guards on a chain, intending to burn him. He begged them to let him go, but they didn't care. They said that now he decided to ask for mercy, although he forgot that just a few days ago he beat them. That's why they set it on fire. At the end of the prison room, the head of the prisoners, Johnson, nicknamed Iron Tongs, sat on a throne and watched everything. He ordered his henchmen to divide the meat of the dead man among his subordinates, because he knew that the food was about to run out. And there were a lot of these pigs. So if there wasn't enough, they had to kill 2 more. Literally a minute later, one of the prisoners came to him with a report that something irreparable had happened. Zixuan had escaped. He was very angry because she had the keys to the weapons warehouse. Iron Tongs told them that if they didn't find Zixuan within 1 day, he would fry and eat them. Afterwards, he immediately turned to the purple eagle named Long Juan, which he kept locked in a cage. Iron Tongs invited him to obey, and then he would let him go. But the sniper of the small government army detachment, Major Purple Eagle Long Juan, did not want to obey. On the other side of the prison, the survivor Zixuan could not understand how 3 people could not cope with these zombies. They were in just a few blows. And even this little girl tore apart a police dog, a zombie, with her hands. Meanwhile, Liu Feng wiped the hands of his younger sister Xin Tong, telling her that it was impossible to tear apart enemies so harshly with one's own hands. Xin Tong saw Zixuan's gorgeous breasts and said that she wanted milk. Her brother asked her where he would find milk for her now, after which she pointed her hand at Zixuan's chest. At that moment she was thinking, does she mean normal milk, or the kind that children drink? Seeing the misunderstanding in Zixuan's eyes, Liu Feng extended his hand to her and asked if she was okay. In response, she handcuffed his hand, saying that the end of the world is not a reason to become an animal. In their country, there are a number of criminal articles for seducing minors. Liu Feng was shocked by what was happening. He told the officer it was his little sister, and they saved her, but instead of thanking her, she decided to handcuff him. "This is not order." Officer Zi Xuan immediately released him, saying that she was asking for forgiveness. It was the costs of her profession that were making themselves felt. After which, she asked what was going on outside now. After all, she hasn't left since the end of the world began and the prisoners rebelled. Liu Feng replied that there was devastation everywhere, and he came to the prison to find weapons. And he asked her if she knew where the weapons room was in the prison. Having learned that he also came for weapons, she decided to offer him a deal, saying that she has the key to the weapons room and he is very strong, and if he agrees to help her calm down the criminals and shepherd her colleagues, she will immediately give him the weapon and he can take as many as he wants. Liu Feng agreed with Zixuan's proposal and said that she would have to fulfill the promise she had just made. She said that she was ready to answer for her words, and he would be able to take as many weapons as he could carry. Zixuan said that these prisoners drove her to the point where she had to constantly beat them with a whip. After all, 5 days ago one of the prisoners partially cut off the electricity in the prison, and prisoner Johnson escaped from his cell with iron tongs and illegally released all the prisoners from the prison, which is about 100 people who seized the prison warden's office on the 8th floor and the weapons room on the 4th. They went up to the 4th floor and were already not far from the weapons room when suddenly Liu Feng heard that there was someone in the corridor. These were prisoners who guarded the cell with weapons while perverting themselves on some girl guard, filming everything that happened on the phone. One of the prisoners filmed everything that was happening on his phone, drooling, while the second one tore her clothes, telling her to please him. Otherwise, they threatened that they would boil her in a cauldron, like her comrade. They laughed and laughed. I think that now they will fuck this beauty, when suddenly a crossbow arrow flew into the neck of one of them. It was Liu Feng who, seeing what was happening, simply could not stand aside, and he attacked these freaks with the words that he was a cannibal who killed 10 people and came to feast on them. He used the explosive fist technique. The students took the fight. Liu Feng dealt him a fatal blow, after which he activated the Kung Fu master and, with a lightning-fast kick, destroyed another enemy prisoner. There was still one more who asked for mercy so that he would not be killed, because he was just a butcher. But Liu Feng knew that they deserved no mercy, as there was nothing sacred about them. At this moment, Guard Chen, who was about to be raped, said that she herself wanted to kill him. She approached the prisoner, picked up the knife that was lying next to him, and began to cut him into pieces. Officer Zixuan wanted to stop Chen, but Liu Feng prevented her from doing so, saying that she had to let off steam. She cut up this prisoner with particular cruelty, and all because her boyfriend was killed, boiled, and eaten right before her eyes. After avenging her boyfriend, she cut her throat, saying that she wanted to be with him forever, and died. Meanwhile, one of the prisoners who managed to escape reported to his boss. Johnson iron tongs that 2 cannibals who were guarding the weapons chamber were killed. Thanks to his tongs, Johnson, in complete desperation, tore the informer in half. He then told his second assistant that they had reached the weapon and ordered him to go to the control room and open the door to the 5th floor. "Let the zombies come inside," he said. Literally a couple of seconds later, another prisoner burst into the room with a denunciation that a girl from the monotheists there wanted to see the boss, and they could not stop her. Before he had time to report, a woman and her 2 servants immediately followed him into the room. She told them not to worry because she just wanted to talk. The leader of the robbers was very angry because he could not understand what right she had to cause disturbances on his territory, and in general, who she was, he asked her. She replied that her name was Sethria, and she was a priest of the faith of monotheism who had come to invite them to join them, after which she opened the box and invited them to eat what was in it, saying that they would gain even greater power thanks to this. The leader of the bandits, as well as his subordinates, did not understand what kind of nonsense was in the box. Meanwhile, the purple halo understood that there was something unclean here. Therefore, I prepared myself and hid a spoon behind my back for self-defense. Meanwhile, after Liu Feng buried a policewoman named Chen who committed suicide, he entered the weapons warehouse and saw a lot of guns and ammunition there. Meanwhile, when the boss was standing and thinking about eating this nonsense, which was offered to him or not understanding what it was, another of his assistants came running to him saying that Zi Ying had escaped. Running up to his cell, Tie Qian saw that he had dug a tunnel and escaped. It didn't immediately dawn on him that he was playing sports to cover up the hole in the wall, and he understood that this fugitive was very dangerous, because he alone could kill all his people. Setria again invited him to eat it and gain incredible strength. Tai Qian almost agreed, but he was wondering what price he would pay for possessing enormous power. Meanwhile, in the armory, Liu Feng's eyes were simply running wild from such a huge number of weapons. Zixuan told him that that was all. He could take whatever he wanted and in whatever quantity he wanted. At that moment, Zixuan was sad, thinking that Chen had committed suicide. She asked Liu Feng, "Will they die here too?" But he told her not to take it to heart, since he also went through this, and also watched his loved ones die, and, unfortunately, could not do anything. After which he said that now his only desire is to protect his little sister. Putting his hand on his shoulder, he invited Zixuan to join them, because together they could survive the end of the world. This was very unexpected for her, since they had known each other only recently. While the guys were having a nice conversation, the younger sister Xin Tong heard a strange voice nearby, calling to save him, and she decided to take a walk to check what was there. Zixuan told Liu Feng that his sister is very strong. She wondered if all his people were that strong. He replied that not everyone, but in high school he had one very cool friend. Then he was recruited into the army. Before he could finish his story, he suddenly saw a suspicious light in the air duct, and immediately pulled Zixuan towards him, saving her from the bullet. He immediately fired 3 return shots at the air duct mesh. As a result, Zi Ying's purple eye jumped out of the air duct. Seeing Liu Feng, he immediately rushed to attack him. Just one jump and a spin nearly knocked him off his feet. Liu Feng realized that his opponent was a skilled fighter and immediately activated the skills of a kung fu master. Liu Feng understood that the fight could drag on for a very long time, since the two of them were very good at kung fu techniques. Therefore, Liu Feng asked the enemy who he was, to which he received the answer that his name is Headman Long Xuan. Liu Feng asked Long Xuan if he remembered him, saying that they went to high school together and that he didn't expect to find him in prison. El Feng said that when Long Xuan was drafted into the army, he became a role model in their school, and for Liu Feng himself an idol. Liu Feng, in order not to waste time, said that he had shelter, food, and water, and that he would like them to join him. Zixuan said that if he helps her save her colleague, then she will definitely join. But Liu Xuan, leaving in a hurry, said that he refused. Liu Xuan turned around and said that since Liu Feng was his former classmate, he would advise him to stay away from him, because now he is a demon with blood on his hands. Liu Feng could not understand what had happened to his classmate over the years that he had not seen him. 10 minutes later, in the weapons warehouse, Liu Feng and Zixuan built a very simple transmission device, so that Liu Feng could transfer weapons and ammunition to the shelter. In literally 1 minute, thanks to teleportation, all the weapons and ammunition from the weapons room were teleported directly to the shelter. Zixuan, holding her head with both hands, could not understand what happened, because all the weapons and ammunition disappeared in just 1 minute. She screamed and began to ask Liu Feng where he had gone, all the weapons, because there were a lot of them. To which he replied that she herself said that he could take whatever he wanted. Suddenly, Li Xin teleported into their room, saying that they had not seen each other for just a few days, and Liu Feng already had a new lover. He immediately said that she didn't understand everything correctly and asked what she was doing here.